Rangers fans are livid at this as the New York Rangers drop one of the most important games they've had in at least a calendar year, and this has serious implications on any playoff hopes they could have had. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on with the New York Rangers, it's free. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. What was that? What was that effort? All of it. What was that? This is what the Rangers do. They pull you in. As soon as you think that something good's going to happen, what is that effort? Unbelievable. Against the team you absolutely had to beat. It was an AHL roster at this point. They traded away some of their best players just this past week or last week. And it's an AHL team and you lose. And you could not lose this game. It's on home ice. It's the first half of a back-to-back. They're now tied with you in points in the standings. You're now that far behind the wild card race. Absolute disaster. And not only that, an AHL team, you lose home ice, the first half of a back-to-back, all these things. And we're going to get into Lafreniere. Trust me, we're going to get into that later in the episode. But you lose to a team who didn't have a shot on goal in the third period. Pittsburgh did not have a shot on goal the entire third period. The entire third period. You were down by one. The fact that you were down by one is absurd in itself. You were down by one goal. They didn't get a single shot, and you didn't tie the game. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is from Peter Ball. I'll calm down a little bit. Let's get into the stats. The Penguins had 0 shots in the third period, but it didn't matter. The Rangers couldn't score on the other end and lose 3-2 to Pittsburgh. That's a bad loss for the New York Rangers, considering Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin were both out for the Penguins. This is an AHL roster. Respectfully. All the respect to Ricard Raquel and all these guys who've been playing in the NHL. This is a borderline AHL roster that you played tonight. In the first half of back-to-back on home ice after 2 really big wins. Per NHL stats, this was the first time this decade in which a team won a 1-goal game despite having 0 shots in the third period. The last time it happened was on January 10th, 2019. Now again, it says decade. It's only been 5 years, right, to this point, but 2019 Minnesota win against Jacob Trouba's Winnipeg Jets. The Pittsburgh Penguins won this game 3-2. They didn't have a shot on goal in the third period. I'm going to let that sit. But a very angry Peter Laviolette, and his post-game availability lasted 34 seconds tonight. He knows what's wrong. He's mad. He's upset. He's with the fans, right? Well, maybe not with the fans, but same sentiment as the fans. He's like, what was that? What was that garbage? What is that effort? A very angry Peter Laviolette. Did you feel like it was a lack of intensity tonight? It was. A man of very few words tonight, Peter Laviolette, that's for sure. Not that he's ever a man of very many words, but what did you see on their second goal? We needed to pick up on the back check, and we did it. The entire postgame was 34 seconds. It will be a silent flight to Columbus. Now, that was from Johnny Lazarus. And pick up on the back check. I wonder what he's talking about. I wonder. Let's just take a gander at this image for a second. I wonder what he's talking about. We will get back to this image and break down the play in a second. All right. This is from Statboy Steven. Losing to a borderline AHL team at home when 3 of your direct competitors for a wildcard spot lost last night has to be the most embarrassing loss of the season. All the circumstances considered, the fact that you're about to head into the Four Nations face-off, the fact that you're playing Columbus tomorrow in the second half of a back-to-back in Columbus and you're actively chasing Columbus, the fact that your competitors that you're in a race with all lost last night, including and you're playing Pittsburgh, who's now tied with you in the standings. It's an embarrassing effort. Embarrassing. And this is a jarring stat. I didn't realize this was the case, but Stephen Valaket on the broadcast said that, the Rangers need to go 20-9 if they want to make the playoffs. And now after this loss, it's 20-8 the rest of the way. I don't know if they're going to do that. I really don't know if they're going to do that. I was so high on them this week because of the effort that they've been putting in the last couple of games. This was far from that. I don't know what happened. They've reverted back to what it was in December after this game. I don't know what that is, but no way to sugarcoat that one. Flat out disappointing result for New York Rangers at a time when they can't afford any letdowns. They were outplayed by a shorthanded Pittsburgh team for 2 periods and couldn't find a way. Again, 0 shots on goal for Pittsburgh. Unbelievable. The urgency up and down the lineup, given their place in the standings, needs to go all the way up. All the way up. I mean, this is it. This was literally Game 7 of the playoffs. I know people are going to be like, that's ridiculous to think that. This was Game 7 of the playoffs. You have to win this game. If there was any game on the calendar this year that was the most important. It was this one tonight, and you lost, and it was embarrassing. Like, I would understand if Pittsburgh was a decent team, right? And you put in a good effort and you still lost. Then the fans would be like, you know what? Like, just maybe the team just isn't that good, right? But we've seen it. It's the effort. You didn't put the effort in. And I want to get back. We're going to break down this play now. Peter Laviolette is talking about the back check. So on this image alone, in the corner, I see JT Miller. He's finishing his check. He picked up his guy. Perfect. All good. We're good. What is the defense doing? Both of them. Because I believe that's Kreider on the left. He should be there, not picking up his guy. That's a bit of a mess. Rickard Rakell has all the time in the world to do whatever he wants because he didn't stop skating. You know who did stop skating? Alexis Lafreniere. You just signed a $7.4 million extension and went away, right? He ended last season on fire to the point where you're like, okay, we have a player here. He went into the playoffs. He was like a point-a-game player in the playoffs. You're like, whoa, this guy's unbelievable. He is worth this extension that everyone was talking about at the time, right? Then he signs the extension early this season after starting the season on fire, right? He was playing great. Signs the extension, has gone away since. Absolutely ghost mode since. And not just in terms of point production, stuff like this. If you go back and watch this goal from the opposing blue line, this player is not skating. He's not engaged in this play whatsoever. Every single guy, there cannot be passengers. Every single guy on this team, if they want to make the playoffs at this point, has to be engaged like this. Is it too little, too late? I'm trying to stay optimistic. But efforts like this and a game like this tonight really takes the wind out of the sails, I'll tell you that, because they really had a chance heading into this game, and especially if you win this game, you're in a great position. Even if you lose tomorrow night. Not really, but you know what I mean. Like, everyone's feeling good. You're probably feeling good about yourself if you're on the team. Now, tomorrow's a tough game. So I can have a back-to-back after losing like that. That's tough. That weighs on the mental. So Lafreniere's he's just got to be better. I mean, that is an answer for the Rangers. If he's better, a lot of the problems are fixed in terms of team defense and the fact that he would actually be producing points, right? He's not had a good season since he signed that extension. That is what it is. But interesting ice time trends for the Rangers. And I love Peter Baugh. Really appreciate you, Peter. You do some great work and some interesting stats here. Deep diving on some stuff. And Laviolette clearly is regaining some trust in Zibanejad, who we've seen, ice time dipped a little bit and he's kind of moved around the lineup. Now he's kind of found his spot with JT Miller on the top line on the right wing. He played 22 minutes and 18 seconds tonight. His highest time on ice since the second game of the season this year. When, remember earlier in the season, he was complaining about ice time. I need to play more to get into a flow, stuff like that. He's averaged more than 20 the past 4 games. So Laviolette is putting more trust into him. And I think it's because he's playing on the wing. He's not, as liable for defensive zone, blown coverage and stuff like that because he just has to cover his defenseman in the zone. That's it. So Lafreniere played 12 minutes and 36 seconds. He had that blown play there, right? So he's barely playing. He's not putting up any numbers. And it's his second lowest of the season. That is awful. And then if you take a look at the, not much going on here in terms of the box score, but if you take a look at the impact score chart, Zach Jones has a tough game. Can't defend that one. Braden Schneider, Matt Rent, like your fourth line's terrible. Kreider Miller's having almost no positive impact in this game. There's a couple guys that had almost no positive impact in this game. JT Miller, almost neutral in this game. Like, this was the one game since he's been traded where it was like, didn't make a huge difference, right? But at least he was covering his guy defensively on that play. You look up and down the lineup, I mean, it's tough. And Lafreniere, it says here, he had a decent game, but like it's moments like these that just, it's unbelievable. You have to lock in defensively if you want to make the playoffs. So disappointing result for the New York Rangers heading into their game tomorrow night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're actively catching them. Pittsburgh is now tied with the Rangers. I mean, they could have made up some ground on teams like Pittsburgh. They could have, catapulted themselves with a win today, a win tomorrow into the playoff pit, right into the playoff picture, into the Four Nations face-off. They would have went into the break feeling good. Not the case. Very different, just disappointing result for the New York Rangers. But let me know in the comments what you think. I mean, that was a deciding moment in this game, I believe, especially because you're up at this point in the game, and the Rangers scored first in this game. You have to lock in on these plays. It's just something that shouldn't have happened. I know sometimes there's miscues and all that all over the ice. If you watch this play from the opposing blue line, this is a miscue that just didn't have to happen. So Life Rangers got to be better. Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.